So I was thinking, and then I thought some more, and then finally it kind of came to me, and I realized that being poor is a choice. Being in poverty is a choice. And how I came to this conclusion was I analyzed my life, which is what I do on a daily basis. I reflect back on my mistakes, on my successes, my failures, and then I say to myself, what if this would have happened? How would that have hindered me? Would that have altered where I ultimately would be? Just what if? See, I used to talk about this a lot, especially in like cookouts, get-togethers, where you get a mesh of people, whether it's from your family or just friends or friends of friends. You get a mesh of different groups of people, and sometimes, most of the times, people don't like hearing things that mm, may touch on them or that they know someone that what you're talking about has touched. I was down this path because for one day I was just bored as hell and I was on the internet or on my phone on the internet and I just decided to look up this one girl um, that I used to. Well, I was trying to date her way back in the late '90s, and for whatever reason, I just happened to find her Facebook page, and lo and behold, she was still doing the same hood ass shit. The only difference is she now had kids. Now I don't know I don't know which ones were which because I know she had at the time her mom had a baby shortly after she had a baby. So I don't know if that was one of those with her sister. This is going way back in 99 2000. So I thought to myself, how is it that you I think she was a couple years younger than me. Not by much. I'm 36, so she gotta be like 34, 35. How is it that you still doing the same shit? You still throwing up bullshit gang signs. You still associating yourself with hood street motherfuckers. You got a daughter that is now 18 or 20 years old. Because at the time, I believe her daughter was 2. So 99, 2000, 18 years later, 19, 20, 21, at the most 22 years old, approaching, and you see the dysfunction being inherited into the daughter and the son. Now the son looks fruity as fall fuck, like, but that's how they make it gangsters now. It ain't like it was when I was coming along. You couldn't be a big dude like me wearing tight ass pants and shit. But whatever. And so I said to myself, what if I had a child with this particular female? Because at the time when I was trying to kick it to her, I mean, we was doing the business. Now, the one thing I plan on preaching to my sons is that was never preached to me because I didn't have a man who saw the game and how it metamorphed and how it transformed against men the way I seen it. So my sons in that instance, all three of my boys will benefit from that. But what I plan on telling my sons straight up, don't get intimate, meaning don't sexually penetrate a female. Don't even don't even be sexually active with a female until you are set up. And honestly, I was gonna say set up for life, but I would even go so far as to say till you have a career. Whether you decide to start your own business, whether you decide to work for someone, whatever the case is, until you have your money built up, until you have your wealth built up, don't or you're in a position where you make enough money to be able to afford children, don't have no children. Children are the greatest resource sucker that you can ever imagine. And it is designed that way because you have the global elites who want to control um, the reproduction of the human race. They want to reduce population and on, etc. That's a whole nother video. But don't don't write a check against your pockets before you have the assets or the resources to be able to cash or give that check away for someone else to deposit. Being poor is a choice because if you are struggling to take care of yourself, why would you bring another life into this world when you can't take care of yourself? And I'm not just talking about the women, I'm talking about dudes too. You know if you're struggling, you know if you working odd jobs just so that you can have a roof over your head, why would you be out there doing stuff knowing that these females are reckless with their ovaries and they use their ovaries like a crap game or a game of Russian roulette for financial gain. Keep it in your pants, man. I always harken back to from the years of 2000, to '05. I walked away from vagina. No, not on no homo shit. But I did not have sex for 5 years until I built myself up to a point where I had money to be able to afford whatever came if I so happened to have a slip up. It was hard. It took a lot of discipline. It took a lot of just being active. And you know, the funny thing about it, I probably made the most music in my life between 2000 and 2005. It's like something about sex just makes you lazy and unproductive. And honest enough to be transparent about it. The moment I started having sex again, I noticed my motivation levels decreased. I didn't put out 6 to 7 mixtapes a year like I was. Unfortunately, all that stuff got destroyed when I don't even want to talk about it. Still pisses me off to this day. Anyways, you know, I was so much more productive because I wasn't thinking about where who's the next chick I'm gonna hit, where I'm gonna get my next piece of ass from. Like that wasn't even a concern because I knew I was in no place financially to be able to even deal with that in case a slip up happened. Then I realized around '08, end of '08, when I went through a situation of a female um, is stupid on my behalf. I take full accountability for my stupidity in participating in the stupidity. Um, was very reckless with my genitalia, and she professed that I had gotten her pregnant. Some I don't know what was going on. I don't know what the game was or whatever. So all of a sudden, all these people from because we lived out of two different states, and all of a sudden I'm getting this was near the end of the AOL Messenger thing, but I'm getting all these messages from people I don't know telling me about the chick that I'm dating with isn't really pregnant or she's pregnant by someone else, and my mom's telling me things about shit that she said to her, and at the end of the day, I started questioning her about a lot of things, and she couldn't give me straight up answers. So I walked away from the situation. Um, my whole thing was you. I caught you in one lie, and you try to tell another lie to get out of that lie. And then when I catch you in the lie, then now you trying to act like I'm the villain because I caught you in the lie. So I walked away. I left it alone, and I realized that even when you do get the money, when you have a job and you're making the money to support not only yourself but you can support another additional life, that a lot of these females will just try to hitch on for a free ride. So it's really hard to give the perfect advice because there is no perfect such thing as a perfect situation in which my advice would apply all the time. But I will say this: had I not been lucky, because Lord knows I did a lot of dumb shit in my youth, and being reckless with my penis was probably the number one thing in my life that I was lucky enough to escape from. And thinking back on it, I wouldn't have been able to do. I wouldn't have been able to go to school. I wouldn't have been able to establish myself in a career, even though it's not what I went to school for. But at the end of the day, being a programmer, it's not something I would have been able to do if I was overwhelmed with baby mom over here, baby mom over there, one want more child support money, and just caught up in the what I call the niggerdom. It's it's a blessing ultimately where I'm at in my life. The fact that I understood, I began to understood and respect my semen and where I put it, and understood that it was more to life than just trying to get the next nut. Because ultimately, I didn't want to be in poverty. I didn't want to be poor all my life. I've always felt there's more to life than just living check to check and day to day and just that hood shit. That ain't for me. I grew up in it because I didn't have a choice. But once I was able to have a choice, I had to be very disciplined in all my actions to get out of that situation. so that it didn't cause a stumbling block in front of me, so that I could pursue my dreams and pursue a career and just be able to make money or earn money without having to worry about someone having a handout all the time trying to get a free lunch off of me. So at the end of the day, if you're poor, if you're in poverty, chances are you made some decisions that's keeping you in poverty, keeping you being poor. And a lot of it starts with us, especially black folks, being reckless with our reproductive organs.